Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. This video will talk about verb patterns 5 and 6. In these verb patterns, we will also learn the verbs of physical perception. These are the verbs that convey the experience of one of the physical senses. The examples of the verbs of physical perception are verbs like see, watch, look, hear, listen, feel, and taste. A verb of perception is also called a perception verb or perceptual verb. In verb pattern 5, we will use the verb which is followed by a pronoun or noun and a bare infinitive. The verbs used are divided into two groups. The first is the verbs that indicate physical perceptions, and the second are the verbs that do not indicate physical perceptions. For the verbs that indicate physical perceptions, the pattern used is subject plus verb followed by noun or pronoun and followed by an infinitive. For example, in sentence like, did you see him go out? Here, this is the interrogative sentence having you as a subject and see as the verb, and then followed by him as a pronoun and go out as the infinitive. Or the second sentence, we felt the house shake. Here we have we as the subject, felt as the verb, and then followed by a noun phrase, the house, and shake as the infinitive. The pattern in verb pattern 5 suggests a completed activity. It means that when we use the pattern like this, we do the activity completed. Just like, did you see him go out? So it means that we see the person from the first time he goes out until he is not in front of ourselves. Okay, the verbs used in this pattern are like feel, look at, notice, watch, hear, see, or observe. When using in passive construction, the to-infinitive is needed in this verb pattern. For example, in the sentence, did you see him go out? When we make it into passive construction, the construction will be like, was he seen to go out? Here, him becomes the subject in passive construction, and then we will need an auxiliary was and the past participle seen from the verb see, and then followed by to-infinitive here. Or in the second example, we felt the house shake. So here the passive construction of this sentence is the house was felt to shake. Okay, so remember to use to-infinitive in the passive construction of the physical perception verbs in verb pattern 5. The second group is the verbs that do not indicate physical perceptions. For this group, the pattern used is subject plus verb plus noun or pronoun followed by an infinitive. So for example, the sentence like, they made me do it. They is the subject, and then followed by made as the verb, and then followed by me as a pronoun, and do is the infinitive, and it as the object of the infinitive. Or in another sentence, we'll use the question like, shall I help you carry those books? Here we have I as the subject, help as the verb, you as a pronoun, carry as the infinitive, and thus book as the noun phrase for the object of the verb carry. And the last example is, I've never known her lose her temper. I as the subject, have never, this is the auxiliary for the present perfect, and then noun is the past participle, and then followed by her as the pronoun, and followed by lose as the infinitive, and also the noun phrase her temper. The verbs usually used in this pattern are have, help, know, make, or let. So remember these words. If you find these verbs, don't forget to make it into the verb pattern, subject plus verb plus noun or pronoun plus bare infinitive. When we use this pattern in passive construction, the same pattern is applied where we use the to-infinitive in its passive construction. For example, in an active sentence like they made me do it, the passive becomes I was made to do it. I comes from me, and then was is the auxiliary of the simple past tense, and then made, that's the past participle, and then followed by to-infinitive, to do it. In the second sentence, I've never known her lose her temper. So in passive construction, it becomes she has never been known to lose her temper. Here we have subject she, so we will need auxiliary has. Okay, she has never been as the be for the perfect tense, and then noun to lose her temper. The verb pattern 6. Okay, in verb pattern 6, the verb is used with a noun or pronoun and a present participle. So it is different from verb patterns 5, where its pattern used a bare infinitive. Here we use a present participle, or we also call it as the ing form. The same as verb pattern 5, the verbs used in this pattern are divided into two groups. First are the verbs that indicate the physical perceptions with different meaning from those in verb pattern 5, and then verbs that do not indicate physical perceptions and cannot be used in verb pattern 5. Okay, let's see what is the meaning of the groups. Okay, the first group, this is about the verbs that indicate physical perceptions with different meaning from verb pattern 5. In this pattern, we have subject plus verb followed by a noun or pronoun, and then followed a present participle form or the ing form. For example, sentence like I saw the boy crossing the road. Here I as the subject, saw as the verb, the boy as the noun phrase, and then crossing is the present participle and the road as the object of the verb. And then I heard him giving orders. This is I subject, heard as the verb, him as the pronoun, and then giving is the present participle and the orders as the object of giving. And then can you smell something burning? Okay, can is the modal auxiliary, you is the subject, smell is the verb, something, this is the indefinite pronoun, and then followed by a present participle. So what makes it different in meaning? In this pattern, it suggests an activity in progress. So because we have present participle here, so it means that the activity is in progress. When using in passive construction, the present participle remains. So this is the different from verb pattern 5. Here in verb pattern 6, there is nothing different with the present participle. So as in active sentence, we will have I saw the boy crossing the road, and then in passive construction, the sentence becomes the boy was seen crossing the road. Here we have subject the boy from the object here, and then followed by an auxiliary, followed by the past participle of the verb saw, and then followed by the same thing, crossing the road. And the second sentence, I heard him giving orders. The passive construction becomes he was heard giving orders. He from him was the auxiliary. Heard becomes past participle heard, and giving orders is the same in the active sentence. Okay, the second group is the verbs that do not indicate physical perceptions. Okay, we have the same pattern in which subject plus verb followed by a noun or pronoun and then followed by a present participle. So when we find verbs like this, found, in sentence like I found him working at his desk, we will use the pattern like this. So I become the subject, found is the verb, and then followed by a pronoun and the present participle like here, working. Or the second sentence, they left me waiting outside. They here as the subject. Left is the verb taken from leave, and then pronoun is the me is the pronoun here, and then waiting is the present participle. I caught him stealing the money. I as the subject, caught as the verb, and him as the pronoun, and then stealing is the present participle. So the same pattern but different groups of verbs. Okay, some verbs in this pattern are usually like catch, find, imagine, keep, leave, meet, pass, set, or start. Okay, so you will remember this verb. So when using passive construction, the present participle remains. For examples, from the sentence I found him working at his desk. So the passive construction from the sentence is he was found working at his desk. He is taken from the object him, which changes into he as the subject of passive, and then was is the auxiliary from the simple past, and then found, this is the past participle from the find, the verb find, and then working is the present participle. And then the second example, you mustn't keep them waiting, and then we change this sentence into passive. So them changes into they. They mustn't. Okay, a modal needs a be, so here we put be. They mustn't be kept, taken from the present participle, the past participle from the verb keep, and the present participle waiting here. So the summary of verb pattern 5 and 6 is that in verb pattern 5, it suggests a completed activity. From the sentence like I saw the boy cross the road, it has the meaning the boy crossed the road and I saw him do this. So I observe the activity from the beginning until the end, until he is at the end of the other side of the road. While verb pattern 6 suggests an activity in progress. Here I saw the boy crossing the road means that the boy was crossing the road when I saw him. So it means like I saw the boy in the middle of the road when he was crossing the road, because the activity is in progress. Okay, so that's the material for today. Thank you very much.